Long before the name Nigeria echoed in the pages of any document, there was land, there were people, there was identity, not one but many, kingdoms, empires, dynasties, a land rich in names and voices, long before one name tried to speak for all. Before Nigeria, there was Oyo, proud and expansive, Benin, artistic and ordered, Nri, spiritual and ancient, Borno, scholarly and powerful. There was no single country, no single name, but there was order, a rhythm, a history. These were not nameless lands or blank slates waiting to be named. They were already a tapestry of authority, trade, art, culture. But why Nigeria? To answer that, we must look at the river that inspired the name, the Niger River. The River Niger is one of Africa's great waterways, stretching over 4,000 kilometers. It passes through Guinea, Mali, Niger, and Nigeria before emptying into the Atlantic Ocean through the Niger Delta. For centuries, it was the backbone of West African civilization. It fed the farmlands that sustained empires like Mali and Songhai. It connected traders who moved salt, gold, and kola nuts across vast distances. In Nigeria, it became both a divider and a unifier, separating regions geographically, but also linking communities through commerce and shared dependence on its waters. For colonial observers, that river, vast and commanding, became the spine of a region they wanted to name. In 1897, a British journalist named Flora Shaw wrote an article. She was writing for the Times of London. In the article, she proposed a name, a simple label for the territories around the Niger River. She wrote, Nigeria, short for the Niger area. She wasn't married to Lord Lugard then. She wasn't a lady. She was a journalist for the Times of London. She suggested a name for Britain's protectorate around the River Niger. She proposed the word Nigeria, short, simple, and tied to geography rather than to a company or a region. Years later, she would become Lady Lugard, but the name that was written by Flora Shaw in ink, before titles, before marriage, and that name stuck. Why did Nigeria stick? Was it because it was brief, easy to say, easy to write, or was it just concise and practical? But what if another name had stuck instead? Something like Goldacia or Slave Coast, names that had once been suggested around maps and mines. Would this country, with all its vibrance, resilience, and voice, still feel the same under a different name? When the name was given, there was no Nigeria as we know it. The people hadn't merged. The boundaries weren't drawn. The identity wasn't born yet. Names are powerful. They shape identity. For the diverse peoples of this land, Nigeria was initially an external label, but by the mid-20th century, as nationalist movements grew, the name became a rallying point. Leaders like Herbert Macaulay, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, and Ahmadu Bello began to speak not just of Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa Fulani, but of a Nigerian nation. The irony, of course, is that a foreign journalist gave the land its name, but over time, Nigerians themselves transformed it. The name became a symbol, not of colonial control, but of unity in diversity, and eventually of independence. But the name came first, and in time, the name shaped the nation. A name written in a British paper, thousands of miles away, now on every passport, currency, anthem. The name Nigeria carries the weight of over 200 million people. It is tied to our challenges, but also to our pride, culture, and resilience. From Nollywood to Afrobeat, from ancient kingdoms to modern cities, Nigeria has made the name its own. Today, the name Nigeria carries weight, power, complexity. But before it carried a country, it was just a word, shaped by a river, chosen by a writer. What's in a name? Maybe everything. Maybe just a beginning. You might have seen these facts before, but stay tuned to see how Tonko tells Nigeria's great history in a way you won't find anywhere else. Welcome to Tonko 360, where we tell our stories our way, the raw African way, a cultural archive for the next generation and generations beyond. Hit subscribe, share this with someone who thinks they know Nigerian history, and join the family that's rewriting it.